Ah, school. Another week, another assignment. Or 2. Or maybe 5. Okay, so let's say you've been given a paper to write, and you know that you have to cite and reference carefully to avoid plagiarism, but there's some information that you didn't get from a published source. It's just a fact that you're pretty sure that everybody knows. Do you have to cite that? And if you do, how do you cite it? Hi, I'm Sarah, and this is Writing Rescue, a video series designed to help you write or maybe mark school papers, whether you're in university, college, or high school. Before we get started, make sure that you've seen episode 1 of this web series on the basics of citing in APA style. So, in the situation I just described, we're talking about what is considered common knowledge. Basically, common knowledge consists of facts that most adults can be expected to know or look up pretty easily. For example, the fact that the freezing point of water is 0 degrees Celsius is common knowledge. Even if you didn't know that fact, say because you're more familiar with Fahrenheit temperatures, it's a fact that you can easily look up, and the information is going to be the same wherever and whenever you look it up. It doesn't change over time. How about the way that classical conditioning works? I'm talking here about Pavlov's dogs slobbering whenever they heard a bell ring. Or what about the fact that sound waves travel through the air? Again, that's common knowledge. These are facts that you can look up easily, the information doesn't change over time, and they generally aren't contested by anyone. Now, another fact could be where and when a famous person was born. For example, Shakespeare was born in 1564. It's also common knowledge that Shakespeare's plays include Romeo and Juliet, Hamlet, and Othello. You don't need to cite these things. However, Shakespeare is a great example here because although a lot of incontestable facts are known about him, like the year in which he was born, there's also a lot that is speculation. For example, many biographies list Shakespeare's birthday as April 23rd, but someone named Schoenbaum, as cited in Wikipedia and .d. suggests that this is a mistake made by a scholar in the 1700s. Schoenbaum says that the mistake remains popular because Shakespeare died on April 23rd, 1616, and I guess the idea of dying on your birthday seemed, well, dramatic. Now, note that I just cited Schoenbaum. The year of Shakespeare's birth is very well known because baptism and death records confirm it, but the actual day of his birth isn't known. People have guessed that it's April 23rd, and Schoenbaum claims to have evidence that that is a mistake. It's Schoenbaum's claim that needs citing. And by the way, I want you to note that although I used Wikipedia as a source here, many instructors won't allow you to use it. It's actually much better to go ahead and read Schoenbaum's work for yourself, because the person who last updated the page on Shakespeare in Wikipedia could have made a mistake, and that mistake hasn't been caught by the Wikipedia editors yet. So, what does need citing? Any statistic. Really, any statistic. Statistics need to be calculated in some way, and that means that someone needs to get credit for the work they did in order to get that information. Here's an example. How many marriages end in divorce? Well, a lot of people will say 50%. Someone wrote that statistic sometime in the past, and now many people just assume that it's true. But if I were a teacher reading a research paper about the effects of divorce, I would want to know where that statistic came from. Is it currently correct? For what country? And what demographics? Does it take into consideration arranged marriages, gay marriages, teen marriages? Does it mean that if 100 couples get married in 1 year, 50 of those couples will eventually get divorced? Or does it mean that in any given year, twice as many people get married as get divorced? We don't know who did the calculation or exactly what it means, or if it was ever true in the first place. Here's another example. 4 out of 5 dentists say they recommend a certain kind of toothpaste. Well, says who? I would want to know who did the research, how they chose the dentists they surveyed, what the other options were that they offered them, how old the information is, and so on. It's not just about knowing who created the statistic, it's also about knowing how they created it. That's why we need a citation. Now also, any opinion or theory must either be cited or clearly identified as your own. Let's say that you want to claim in an essay that Beethoven is regarded as a better composer than Mozart. If that's your opinion, great. Back it up with evidence. If it's someone else's opinion, cite whose opinion it is. What about the idea that Shakespeare didn't write the plays that are attributed to him? That's a theory that's been around for a long time. So, if you're going to put it in a paper, give the people who made that claim credit for their theory. Don't know who came up with it? You better find out. It's good scholarship to do so. It shows that you've done your research, and it helps to avoid people perpetuating mistakes, like the scholar from the 1700s who said that Shakespeare died on his birthday. Now here's the most important takeaway lesson. If you're not sure whether something is common knowledge or needs to be cited, when in doubt, cite. Yes, it's more work, but it's better than being accused of plagiarism and possibly failing your assignment or even getting kicked out of school. It's good scholarship, it makes you explore more documents, and it makes you question things. Then, if you're really uncertain and you're still in school, ask your teacher what he or she wants. Sometimes these things can be judgment calls. So, that's the basics of understanding common knowledge versus something that needs citing. Unchanging facts are common knowledge. Anything that's a statistic, an opinion, or a theory needs to be cited. And when in doubt, just go ahead and cite. Be sure to check out some of our other episodes of Writing Rescue. Thanks for watching, and good luck with that paper.